Welcome to the Daily Message. My name is Molly McGinstry. You may know me as one of the 8th grade PSR teachers, or you may recognize me from my time in the youth group Luke 18 or youth retreats back when I was in high school. So many of us have heard stories of youth and young people feeling adrift or distancing themselves from the church because of doubts or fears or feeling like they don't belong. And I want to tell you my story of how I was very involved with the church, went adrift, and found my way back. Like I said, I was super involved in high school. I taught, PSR. I worked at the youth group. I was a leader at Luke 18 and on all the youth retreats. And when I went away to college, I was still involved with church until I was 19, and I was assaulted by someone I met at church. I got really mad at God, and I know you're not supposed to say that, but I did, and I spent a few years not going to church, not being involved, and doubting my place with God, because how could that ever happen with a God that was the God I grew up knowing? Then, when I was in grad school, a bout of Catholic guilt brought me to an Ash Wednesday confession service. When I was giving confession, the priest asked me what I wanted to confess, and I said that I hadn't been to church in a couple of years. He must have seen something because he asked why. When I told him what happened, he said, "I'm so sorry that's happened to you. I think so often we forget that while the church may be a way we connect with God, sometimes the actions of the people in the church don't match the teachings we teach in church." I had never thought about it that way, and I realized that day that I was mad at God for something God didn't do. It was slow, but I made my way back, and my faith has become much stronger because of it. I think we brush off the youth's doubt or confusion about their place in the church because, well, everyone doubts things in their youth. But as I found my way back, I realized a lot of times we put stake or stock in what the people of the church say instead of the teachings and what Jesus and God have asked us to do. When I finished grad school, I called St. Nicholas and asked if there was maybe an opening for me to teach PSR again. There was, and I began teaching back in August, and I found myself doubting on that first day if I could possibly provide value to these students if I had spent so much time adrift. And then I remembered the time that I had spent involved in the church far outweighed the time that I had spent away. And the faith that I had going through trials was stronger at the end of it because I knew more fully that I trusted God in my life, and that even when I doubted him, he blessed me with grace and success and the ability to overcome something that was very traumatic. So for any of you who are struggling with a youth or a young person who is finding themselves doubting the church or questioning the church, I challenge you to ask them if it's the church that they're doubting, the teachings that they're doubting, or maybe just because they haven't found the right discipleship and community in church. And if you are feeling a little lost, I challenge you to go back to your best memory of church and find what it was about that made it so lovely. And remember that sometimes we all have bad days and we don't act the way the church teaches us to. So if we can remember that we're all just trying our best, maybe it'll become easier to remember that the church is a place we find God, but it's not always going to be the people's actions that match up. I challenge you to go back to church, to find the grace in the world and look around you and see that Jesus is still acting in your life, even if you're not opening yourself up to him. That was the daily message. I hope you have a lovely day.